Welcome back, guys, to another Clash Royale video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Giant Skeleton Goblin Barrel strategy. Now, I had done a video on this strategy a long time ago in the past, but since then, both of these cards have received huge buffs. The Giant Skeleton got a plus 20% damage buff in the last update, and the Goblin Barrel had its elixir cost reduced from 4 down to 3. So two huge buffs to those cards here. Now, here's the deck I'm using. Now, if you don't have the Princess card, I will suggest some options for replacement for you guys. You can go ahead and use a second spell like Fireball or Arrows. Personally, I would go ahead and use Fireballs for a higher damage spell. Or you can go ahead and use the 3 Elixir Minions or the Minion Horde, and that'll give you a card that can help you bait out your enemy spells, and then go in with the Goblin Barrel, which is why I had the Princess in this deck here, to hopefully bait out arrows and also provide some range support. But let's go ahead here, go on to some replays. I will show you guys one replay without the Princess in this deck, just to show you guys that it does work without using the Princess, and then the final 2 replays will have the Princess in there. But let's go ahead here. So here we are, guys, facing off against a higher level in the Frozen Peak Arena. This is on my mini account, by the way. Now, my opponent here is going to start out pretty aggressive with a Hog Rider Goblin push. Now, unfortunately, I don't really have the greatest starting hand in terms of defending against this push, so I had to use this Zap spell to kill those Spear Goblins, and then use my Musketeer as well as the Valkyrie to counter the Hog Rider and Goblins. And in the end, he did some decent damage to my tower, bringing it down to 1500 health. But take a look at this counter push I have right here. Because he spent so much elixir on that initial push, I am able to go back on a counter push with the Valkyrie as well as the Musketeer. And the thing is right there, the reason I used the Goblin Barrel is he was forced to respond to the Goblin Barrel instead of using his Minion Horde to counter my Valkyrie as well as the Musketeer, because he spent all of his elixir on those arrows instead. And as a result, we were able to do some decent damage to that tower, bringing it down to 518 health. Now, the main strategy with this deck is to either use your Valkyrie or the Giant Skeleton to tank the tower damage, and then send in your Goblin Barrel to hopefully do some damage to the tower. Now, you do also have to mix up your location with the Goblin Barrel if you're facing somebody that has a lot of spells in your deck, which is pretty much everyone. I think 99% of people right now are using the Zap spell as well as one additional spell. So like I said, you have to mix up the location of the Goblin Barrel. Now, this replay here, if you haven't noticed, doesn't have the Princess in it. I was using the Fireball instead of the Princess, but right there, he wasted his Fireball as well as the Zap spell, taking out my Musketeer. So I know I have an opportunity to go on the offensive because he wasted 2 spells out of the 3 spells that he has in his deck. So right here, Giant Skeleton going in. He has no elixir left to defend. I'm throwing in the Goblin Barrel there. He uses the arrows to take out the goblins, but as a result, the Giant Skeleton will give me the 1 crown lead so far in this battle. And with a minute 13 seconds left, all I really have to do is defend, and I will get the 1 crown victory. So right here, Giant Bomb exploding, bringing his King Tower all the way down to 3000 health. But I'm not really too concerned about getting the 3 crown victory. I mean, it would be nice because I do need my crown chest, but I want to play it safe because I am facing a higher level. Right here, going to go ahead and use the Fireball to take out that Minion Horde. Now, the Hog Rider Minion Horde push is pretty popular, which is why I like having a second spell in my decks. Now, he's going to go ahead here and Fireball at Musketeer and actually miss the cannon, so kind of a misplaced Fireball on his part. Going to keep dropping troops on the left-hand side here. Now, the great thing with the Giant Skeleton is he's great at defending a lane. If you drop the Giant Skeleton in the back behind your King Tower, your opponent pretty much can't push that lane, because any troops they drop down are going to die by the Giant Skeleton bomb. And that's why I love the Giant Skeleton. He's a great offensive and defensive tool. Now right here, I'm going to go ahead and zap those Barbarians. I'm not really intending to do too much with that. I just want to delay him until the battle ends, and I will get the 1 crown victory. So right here, Hog Rider going in there with some Goblins. Going to go ahead and use my Valkyrie way in the back to take out all those Goblins and save my Musketeer. And with 5 seconds left, we will be able to get the 1 crown victory, guys. Let's go ahead to the next replay here. So here we are, guys, once again facing off against a higher level, and in this replay here and the next one, I am using the Princess instead of the Fireball. But like I said earlier, this deck does work if you don't have the Princess. Just go ahead and use a second spell instead of the Princess, or use Minions or Minion Horde, and that'll help you bait out spells and then go in with the Goblin Barrel. But right here, able to get a quick couple hits on the tower with an early Princess drop. He's going to go ahead and mirror his Spear Goblin Hut. I'm not really too sure, haven't really seen that done before. Kind of interesting, but also kind of frustrating because I am using the Giant Skeleton, which is easily distracted. So I have to adapt my strategy a little bit, knowing that I won't be able to use the Giant Skeleton on the right-hand lane, just because there's so many Goblins spawning out that I'll distract it. Gonna go ahead and try and use the Valkyrie instead to tank for my Goblin Barrel. So as you can see right here, Valkyrie going there. The Valkyrie does die, but right here, the tower is distracted by the Goblin Barrel, which is going to allow my musketeer to do some pretty decent damage to the tower, and in the end, we are actually able to take that tower down, giving myself the 1 crown lead. And take a look at this counter push on the right hand side. One giant skeleton is going to counter this entire push on the right hand side. But on the left hand side, he does sneak in a hog rider. Gonna go ahead and use some goblins to take it out. And in the end, we defend pretty well on the right hand lane. He does some decent damage to my tower on the left hand side, bringing it down to 1500 health. But we do have the 1 crown lead. So at this point in the battle, we can kind of just focus on defending for the last minute 30 seconds. And we will be able to hold out for the 1 crown victory. He's going to start focusing his attention on the left hand side because his tower on the right is down. And my tower on the left hand side is a little bit lower than the one on the right. Going to start focusing here, starting a push on the left hand side with the musketeer behind my king tower. Once the musketeer makes it way closer to the bridge, going to go ahead and use a Valkyrie up front to protect her, and then use the princess right in the middle there to hopefully provide some range support. And notice how I drop my troops spread out. That way he can't hit all my troops, as you can see right there, with the fireball. So he was forced to use the fireball to take out my princess, which is perfectly fine by me, because that's a 1 elixir loss by him, and also gives me the opportunity to maybe go in later on with the Goblin Barrel. Now right here, once again, using the giant skeleton to defend against the barbarians, dropping down the cannon there, just because I was kind of expecting a hog rider on the right hand side. But in the end, he didn't drop the hog rider, so that cannon kind of was a waste. Gonna go ahead and here use the Valkyrie up front to take out the barbarians. Musketeer providing some damage to that giant, and then going to go ahead and use the giant skeleton once again to block that bridge. And once the giant skeleton dies, all of those troops coming in here will die by the giant bomb. So like I said before, the giant skeleton is a huge defensive tool. Now here we are with 20 seconds left. Like I said before, just defending, focusing on trying to save for that 1 crown victory. He drops the well played there. I think he knows that he won't be able to get the victory at this point in the battle. Valkyrie going down to take out those barbarians, and with 8 seconds left, guys, I will be able to get the 1 crown victory. So let's go ahead and watch this finish up. He's not going to drop any more troops here. Let's go ahead to the final replay here. So here we are, guys. Now I'm going to sit back here a quick second and build up the elixir and allow my opponent to make the first move. Now usually when I'm facing somebody that's a higher level, I usually like to let them make the first move, just because they already have the advantage of being a higher level. He's going to start out with a hog rider push. Now unfortunately I don't have the cannon in my starting rotation, so I have to use the Valkyrie as well as the musketeer to defend. But in the end, it wasn't too bad. The hog rider only gets 1 hit on my tower, and I do have a decent counter push because of it. Gonna go ahead and here use the Goblin Barrel because the tower is distracted by my Valkyrie. He ends up using the Zap spell to take out my Goblin Barrel, which I pretty much predicted that he had the Zap spell in his deck, because 99% of people right now are using the Zap spell. But I wanted to maybe figure out if he had arrows or fireball in his deck as well. Now right here, we're going to sit back, wait till I get to 10 elixir, then drop down the princess in the back behind my king tower, and just kind of slow play this game. I want to play it safe and see what kind of cards my opponent has. He ends up using the fireball to take out my princess as well as a tower, which is perfect for me because that's the whole reason I threw in the princess into this deck, was to bait out spells. Now right here, we're going to go ahead and use the cannon to distract the hog rider, and then use goblins to take out the musketeer. And right here, I actually have a decent counter push going on with the giant skeleton, but he ends up dropping down the bomb tower to take out my giant skeleton. And looking back at it, I probably could have used the Goblin Barrel to do some damage to that tower, because the tower was distracted by the giant skeleton for a long time, but I wanted to play it safe in the battle itself, and I didn't want to overextend. Now right here, going to start out a slow push with the Valkyrie. I noticed how this time I used the Valkyrie to do a slow push, whereas normally I use the musketeer, and that's because I know he has a fireball in his deck, and I don't want him fireballing my musketeer. Now take a look at this next little exchange right here. Gonna go ahead and use the Zap spell to stun those minions, but I end up dropping down my musketeer into the lightning spell, which is a huge waste of 4 elixir. Now if you guys don't know, there is a 1 second delay built into every card drop, so I actually dropped the musketeer before he used the lightning spell, but then in the end, just as the musketeer spawned, he used his lightning spell. So like I said, huge waste of 4 elixir right there, but not too bad in the end. Giant skeleton going up here with another push, dropping on the the princess in the middle there, providing some range support, and then using the Goblin Barrel. Now he misses his fireball, but take a look at this. He also misses his Zap spell because I threw in my Goblin Barrel into the top left corner instead of using the Goblin Barrel on top of the tower. And this is what I mean when I said earlier in the video about mixing up the location of the Goblin Barrel. Sometimes you can catch your opponent off guard and end up having them waste a spell because you mixed up your location. And as a result, we do have the 1 crown lead so far in this battle. Down goes a second giant skeleton, just keeping the pressure on, trying to go for that 3 crown victory. And in the end, my opponent does kind of give up. He tries to prevent me from getting the 3 crown victory, but I had too many cards on the table right here, and in the end, we do get the 3 crown victory. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.